Next we have that is split function. So by using a split function, we can split the strings. Okay. So now what we are going to do, we are going to create like suppose I am having a string L1. Okay. So I'm typing a sentence. Suppose what I'm going to type, Python. Learning Python is very easy. Okay. Learning Python is easy by, suppose I am typing learning Python is easy by Ashish sir. I am typing. Okay. So learning Python is easy by the Ashish sir. I have a sentence. Okay. This is a string we have, and this string is stored into a L1. Okay. What I'm going to do, I am having a split function. So by using a split function, it will be converted into the list, and individually word will be converted as a list value. Okay. Now let's see how we can do that. So we have the L1 we have. Now L1 dot split function is there. Okay. Split function is there. L1 dot split function. So in L1 dot split function, so a split function will be convert that individually word in the form of the string, and that will be stored into the L2, and then we can print the L2. Okay. Now let's check. So like this. So individually words that will be directly converted into the list. So this is the power of the Python. Now if you want to check that is really this L2 is the type of the list. Okay. Now here I didn't use the list function. Okay. As in the last program we have discussed the list function, that is list method we can say. So list method we have discussed. Okay. So I didn't mention the list method. So what you can do, you can check that type of the list. Okay. So just type the print and type of L2 you can mention. Okay. And just stay. So it will show the type, what type it is. It type is the list type. Okay. So by using a split function, we can split the words. Similarly, you can also work with the index number. Today we have discussed some indexes. Okay. So that we have discussed about the slicing. So that how we can perform the slicing there. Slicing is what, like from this element to this number of element we want to print the elements. So that we have discussed. Okay. Similarly, we can perform the operations, like let's see what we can do. Suppose I am having a list, that is suppose L1 I am having. Okay. In L1 I am having elements like what? Okay. I am having elements like this. Now what I want to do, I want to access the elements like suppose print L1 of, I want to mention some slicing. What is slicing? We can pass the first index and last index. Okay. So yesterday we have already discussed. Like suppose I want to pass this 2 to 6. Okay. Now let's print. So we can print the elements from the 2 to 6. So second index is what? This is 0th index. 1 is available at 0th index. This will be the first index. This will be the second index. Second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So less than 6 it will be printed. So 2 to 6 it is printed. Okay. Similarly, in case of the slicing, what you can do, you can mention the other things also. Other things means others index number also. Okay. So like what we can mention, so we can mention like this. Okay. Now let's print. So what it will do, it will check that from second number of index to whatever index mentions, or what is the last index, from second index to sixth index, how many elements are present with a difference to. So 3 and 5 is available. So 3 and 5 will be printed. So you can use the slicing like this with the list. We have discussed that is mutability concepts. Okay. So what is meant by mutability and what is meant by immutability concepts? So mutability means what, we can do the changes in the list or what, anything else. Okay. And immutability means what, we cannot do the changes in the same object. Okay. So the people who are coming from the C++. So in C++ there is a functionality to create the constant. So if you want to create the constant, we need to use the const keyword is there. Okay. So by making the any variable constant, so that value cannot be changed. Okay. So similarly in C++ there is another functionality, that is we can make any object to a constant by using the const keyword. So if my object is constant, so whatever data member will be present inside a class, so that class data cannot be modified. Okay. But if you want to modify some data, so that data should be like a mutable data. Okay, so we have to use the mutable keyword. So what is the mutable keyword? So mutable means we can do the changes, immutable means we cannot do the changes. Of course we will discuss in case of a tuple. So next topic we have, that is a tuple we are going to discuss. So in case of tuple we will discuss what is meant by immutability and mutability again. Okay, so in list we can change the values, we can modify the data. Okay, like let's see how we can modify the data. Suppose I am having a list that is L1 and L1 is having elements like this. Okay, now I want to print the L1, so I can print L1 like this. Okay, now I want to change the L1 of suppose 2, L1 of 2 I want to modify, suppose 99 I want to modify. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to print L1. Okay, so let's see what is the output. So first time its output is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Now the second number of index is being modified. This is my 0th index, this is my first index, this is my second index. So 3 will be replaced by the 99. So we can modify in the same object in case of the list. Okay, because list is a mutable, list object is a mutable. Now we can do the traversing. So if you want to perform the traversing with the list, so that is also possible. So how we can perform the traversing? Traversing is what? Visit each and element of the list, okay, and print that list. Okay, that is meant by traversing. So how we can do the traversing with the list? Okay, so suppose I am having a list that is L1 I am having. So let's create another elements, like I am adding the numbers like 8 and 9 we have, suppose elements. Okay, suppose I want to print, so of course L1 we can print. Okay, like I don't want to mention this L1 now. I want to do the traversing, so while loop we can use. So like I am going to create, so I will be start from the 0. Okay, and there is a loop, that is while loop. Of course we will discuss what is meant by while loop. So while loop we have, in while loop that we have to mention, that is I less than len of L1. Okay, length of L1. Okay, so what len is doing, okay, we have discussed that is len is used for to find the length of the string. So whenever we find the length of the string, so we have to use the len function. Okay, then we have to use the colon. Okay, then pass we don't want to use. So if you don't have the code, don't need to write any logic, so then we have to use the pass. So I don't want to mention the pass. Now I am having the print command. Okay, so print we have, then we are going to print, that is I. So that is L1 of I we are going to print. Okay, now this I should be incremented, correct? So I equals to I plus 1 we are going to mention. Okay, now we can traverse this list and we can print element one by one from the list. Okay, how it is possible? Let's run the program. So let's see the output. We can have output like this. So if you want to traverse the list, if you want to print the one by one, like now you may feel, sir, if you are using the print function directly, so we can print the list. Okay, so what is the need of this? In case of list, this will be present in the group. If you want to extract the element one by one, suppose I want to do some operation. Suppose I am having one of the list, that name is suppose marks. Okay, and that marks is having a number of marks. I want to increase that marks by 5. Okay, because every students are fail in that subject, so I want to add the grace marks like 5. I want to add. Okay, so in that case we have to use the while function, and then we will add these 5 extra marks, and then we will update that into the list. We can update and we can also print that. So in such a case we have to use this updatable operation. We can traverse this list. This concept you should know about. Okay, I hope you are really enjoying this session. Now same thing you can do with the for loop. We had discussed about the for loop. Here we have the for loop, that is for loop we are going to discuss the for x in the range. So for x in L1. Okay, what we are going to print, that is print x we are printing. Okay, so this is simple how we can print by using the for loop. Okay, because for loop is very famous for student point of view and programmer point of view. So because most of the people like the for loop, so we can use for loop to print the data from the list. We can extract the data from the list. We can traverse the data from the list. Okay, so we can use for loop as well. Suppose I want to perform some other operations, like what I want to do is, suppose I am having a list that is L1, and L1 is having elements, like what elements we have, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 we have, and what I want to do is I want to display only the even numbers, suppose. Okay, I want to display only even numbers. So how we can display the even numbers? I am having a for loop, so that is for x in the range. X is a loop controlling variable. Generally we are using the I. Okay, so if you are familiar with I, so I am using this I here. Okay, so I am using I here. So I in the list, so whatever data is present inside the list, L1 data will be come into the I, and then I will be printed. Okay, so this is the concept generally. So when I use the here I, so I means data will be printed. So first data is 1, so 1 will be come here in I, then I will be printed, then I plus plus will be there, then L1 will be point to the 2, then 2 will come into the I, then I will be printed. So similar like this. So what we want to do here, we want to perform some operations like suppose I want to print even numbers, total only even numbers, so that only even numbers I want to print. So how we can print the even numbers? We have to use the if statement, that is suppose n1 is there, n1 remainder 2, n1 remainder 2. Suppose I am having the L1, then we have the, sorry, we have the I loop controlling variable. So I remainder 2, then equal to 0. Okay, I remainder 2 equal to 0 is there, and now we are going, what we are going to do, we have to print the I otherwise. Okay, so we are printing the I. So what it will do, it will print the total even numbers. So you can perform the operation with the list. Okay, so this is very useful when we are learning the machine learning. Okay, if you want to display on the index wise numbers, we want to display, so what we can do? Okay, print the numbers as well as the index numbers. Okay, so we have the, like first we will find the length. So what we are going to find, like suppose I am having a variable that is n I am having. Okay, and n is I having a length that is len of L1. So whatever length we have, so that will be stored into the n. Okay, now loop will be continue till what time? Till n time. So we have to mention the range. In the range, what range? Whatever range is there, so range will be find up to the n. So what is the value of n now? N value is 9. Okay, so my loop will be continue till what time? Till n time, means whatever data will be present. Okay, so currently my loop will be continue till 9 time. Then next we have for I in the range, for I in the range, that is n we are going to pass. Okay, now what we are doing, we are printing the statement. So we have printed the statement. So that is, suppose first element we want to print, so what we can do, l1 of I we are going to print. Okay, now what we are going to print, it is available at the position index. Okay, so we have to print its index number. Suppose I want to print index number, so what is the index number is, and index number is I index number is, okay, what is the index number? So index number we are going to print, that is suppose I we are going to start. Okay, so index number will be start from the I. Okay, now let me print. So of course the data will be printed, like this. Okay, okay, I use here index, so index number is there. Okay, so index number is there, so data will be printed like this. So first one is available at the 0th index, 2 is available at the first index. So like this, suppose I want to print the index number with the data, so we can print the index numbers. Okay, then next we are going to discuss about the how many types of functions are available for the list. While performing the operations, we have discussed the many functions today. Why we are discussing list in detail? Because when we go for the machine learning, so we need to learn the list in details. Of course, NumPy we are going to discuss. So you should have a knowledge about the list in detail. So that's why list we are going to discuss in detail. So we have some functions. So by using that function, we can manipulate the data. We can perform the many operation with the list. So it will be very simplify the programming. Okay, but in other case, like other programs, we know, like we know about the C language, we know about the C++ or Java language. So there are some limitations. They are not having a much of ready-made support. But in case of Java is also having a much of the methods are available for performing the operations. But if you are comparing the Python, so Python has lots of functionality, so no need to write the code explicitly. So let's discuss about the functions. So first function we are going to discuss, that is length function. So by using a length function, we can find the length. So how we can find the length? So this is my length function. Okay, so let me print the length. So print, and I'm going to print. So okay, length is what? Length is 9. Okay, so what is my length? Length is 9. Okay, So by using the len function, it will return the number of elements present in the list. So whatever elements are available in the list, that will be printed.